Hey everyone, welcome. On this channel, we're going to get into an advanced look at the story Disastrous Necromancer. Come with me as we unravel the journey of Lin Moyu, from his beginnings to him becoming a force to be reckoned with in a mysterious new world. If this story sounds like something you'll enjoy, please like, share, and comment. Your support helps us keep providing these in-depth looks into the world of Disastrous Necromancer. Now let's continue.
The colorful rain slowly fell in the star domain, not only on the stars but everywhere in the star domain. A beautiful colorful star river appeared out of thin air, like a rainbow, dancing in the star domain. The light and shadow of the colorful star river appeared in various places in the star domain, and people in each galaxy could see the colorful star river as long as they looked up. The light of the stars was covered by the colorful star river, and even during the day, when the sun was high, the colorful star river could be clearly seen. Where did this colorful star river come from? I've never seen it before. And this colorful rain, I've never seen it either. Where did it come from, and where is it going? It's truly magical. And this colorful rain, I feel so comfortable being in it, as if I've been reborn. It's not an illusion. Some of my old injuries seem to be showing signs of recovery. What exactly is going on? Does anyone know? For a time, the Human Emperor network was abuzz, with everyone discussing the sudden appearance of the colorful rain and the colorful star river. People only realized after entering the Human Emperor network that the colorful rain covered the entire Divine City star domain, an unimaginable scale. The colorful star river could also be seen throughout the entire star domain, which was incredibly magical and beyond common sense. In the core of the Divine City, outside the huge light cluster, colorful rain was also falling. The colorful star river also appeared here, constantly dancing. The various beings in the Beyond Realm simultaneously looked at the colorful rain and the colorful star river, shocked beyond words. What is this phenomenon? Why have I never heard of it? Colorful rain, colorful star river, indeed unheard of. I've lived for 10,000 years and have never seen such a phenomenon. Covering the entire Divine City star domain, the scale is beyond imagination. Madame Yu murmured, colorful rain, it seems I've heard of it somewhere. Old Lin also whispered, indeed, I've heard of it. It should be some kind of legend, but I'm not particularly clear. The saint might know, it shouldn't be a bad thing. In the Divine City, colorful rain was also falling, and several saints left the central temple, looking at the magical scene. Saint Hao sighed repeatedly, I didn't expect the legend to be true. Saint Tian also praised endlessly, back when we were still in the Beyond Realm, we entered an ancient ruin together and obtained some information. When someone achieves the status of a god with the purple gold body, the heavens will have colorful rain falling to celebrate. When someone achieves the status of a god with a perfect posture, the heavens will have a colorful star river appearing to celebrate. Saint Hao chuckled, I remember old Shaw back then scoffed at it. Now he's been proven wrong, hasn't he? Saint Shaw snorted, didn't you get proven wrong too? Back then, you said that colorful rain and colorful star rivers were nonsense. Saint Hao shook his head, actually, I always knew it wasn't nonsense. It's just that we had already reached the Beyond Realm back then, and it was too late to turn back, so I could only say that to stabilize my Tao heart. Saint Tian sighed, Star Elder once advised us, but unfortunately, we didn't listen. Saint Hao shook his head, at that time, we were young and impetuous. How could we endure the tedious and boring body refining, which could take hundreds or thousands of years? Star Elder just scolded me, and I really have no words to respond. Lin Moyu has now achieved the status of a god with a perfect posture. His future is limitless. Little Tian Tian, do you still think Lin Mohan is more likely to rebuild the divine path? Saint Tian thought for a moment, looking into the distance, both are possible. After Lin Moyu's breakthrough, the bloodline resonance will greatly benefit Lin Mohan as well. As Lin Moyu's realm gets higher, Lin Mohan's realm will also continue to improve. Maybe when Lin Moyu reaches the Saint realm, Lin Mohan will have already been pushed to the Supreme realm. What Saint Tian said was not impossible, just very unlikely. Saint Hao smiled, I hope it goes as you wish. In the Sea of Laws, Lin Moyu was enveloped in purple light. Star Elder looked at Lin Moyu, his wrinkled face full of smiles. His eyes were also full of the love of an elder for a younger generation. He's really a good child. I hope you can succeed. If you can't, this era might have no hope. He turned his head, and a fishing rod appeared in his hand. The long fishing line floated into the Sea of Laws, and he began to fish. Everyone knew there were no fish in the Sea of Laws, but Star Elder fished with great interest. Lin Moyu finally stepped into the realm of gods, unaware of the phenomena appearing in the world. At this moment, he was sitting in the Law Star River, which surged into his body, entering his soul, surrounding him completely. Lin Moyu felt as if he was bathing in a hot spring, with the last gap being filled. His soul grew stronger and stronger, having already reached the Beyond Realm, and now taking another step forward. Lin Moyu knew that his soul had reached the high level of the 5th grade, which is the level of a saint. In terms of the soul alone, he was no worse than any saint. His whole body glowed with purple and gold light, and his physical body also strengthened again after stepping into the realm of gods. The purple gold body became even stronger, and the light became even more intense. The purple gold body has reached a small achievement. Previously, the purple gold body could only be considered as just entering the door, but now it had reached a small achievement. In this era, no one practiced body refining. Not to mention the purple gold body, even those who achieved the great achievement of the Divine King Golden Body were very few. Because of this, Lin Moyu had no one to compare with. But he knew that in terms of physical body alone, he was already one of the top existences in this era. A saint-level soul, a top-notch physical body, now his only shortcoming was his realm. The realm needed to cross the Star River. In the Lost Star River, the farther one walked, the higher the degree of integration with the Lost Star River, and the higher the realm. Until one reaches the end of the Lost Star River and steps onto the other shore. Lin Moyu knew very well that he was different from others. Others crossed the Star River with their souls. No matter how far their souls walked, their physical bodies remained motionless on the shore. Even if they finally reached the other shore, it was only their souls that arrived, while their physical bodies remained unmoved. In Lin Moyu's view, such an other shore was not the true other shore. But he needed to cross the Star River with both his physical body and soul, truly stepping onto the other shore. However, such a path was more difficult to walk. The physical body in the Lost Star River faced many restrictions, unlike the freedom of the soul. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. No matter how difficult, I must cross it. I don't care for shortcuts. He took a deep breath, like a dragon absorbing water, and a large amount of the Lost Star River was absorbed into his soul world. The Lost Star River exploded in the soul world, turning into countless water vapors that flooded the entire soul world. Having already ascended to the realm of gods, the next step was the evolution of spells and talents. Each major realm upgrade brought amazing changes to spells and talents. The leap from a god to a divine king was an incredibly huge one. Lin Moyu had a faint feeling in his heart that the changes between the two would be enormous. His soul opened its eyes and first saw the giant talent tree. Compared to spells, the giant talent tree was obviously more important. His ability to reach his current level was inseparable from his talents. The giant talent tree was shaking violently, seemingly also happy for Lin Moyu's ascension. The leaves rustled, like countless big hands clapping. The water vapor in the soul world enveloped the giant talent tree, which was growing, becoming taller and taller, once again showing a trend of towering into the sky. Lin Moyu clearly felt that the giant talent tree was rapidly growing stronger. Suddenly, a colorful rain appeared in the soul world, like sweet dew falling. The sudden arrival of the colorful rain did not surprise Lin Moyu. It felt as if everything was so natural. Bathing in the colorful rain, his soul felt a natural sense of comfort. Lin Moyu had a strange feeling, as if he had seen the colorful rain before. Instinctively, he felt that the colorful rain had no malice towards him. The colorful rain fell on the giant talent tree, dyeing it with a layer of brilliant colors. After absorbing the colorful rain, the giant talent tree became even stronger. It grew taller and taller, its massive branches and leaves spreading out, covering most of the soul world. The current soul world was no longer the same as before. Not only had the space expanded, but it also resembled a real world. The giant talent tree was full of vitality, and the strong life force filled the soul world. If there were seeds or flowers, they would have already sprouted and grown under this vitality. Lin Moyu's heart moved. Could the soul world be a microcosm of the rule world? The evolution of the rule world in the saint realm might be based on the soul world. He pondered this, contemplating the rule world. He had entered the rules of Saint Hao and the rule world of the Supreme. From the Beyond Realm to the Supreme, he had always been in contact with them. Gradually, he began to see some clues. The difference between the Beyond Realm and the Saint Realm lies in the rule world. The Beyond Realm does not have a rule world, while the Saint Realm does. If you carefully feel it, you can sense the changes brought by the rule world. However, the Rune Saint does not have a rule world. It seems that even in the Saint Realm, constructing a rule world requires a long time. The reason why the Rune Saint does not have a rule world is naturally not due to any other reason. It can only be said that the time since becoming a saint is still short, and a complete rule world has not yet been constructed. Therefore, in terms of strength, the Rune Saint is weaker than Saint Hao and others. The difference between the Saint Realm and the Supreme Realm is even greater. The giant talent tree continued to grow and spread, already covering most of the soul world, showing no signs of stopping. It seemed as if it wanted to turn the entire soul world into a dense forest. It grew taller and taller, and the originally large soul world was once again forcibly expanded by it, becoming even larger. Lin Moyu keenly captured that the reason for this was precisely because of the colorful rain. The colorful rain had become the best nourishment for the giant talent tree, nurturing it and making it strong. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. He saw another change. Among the dense branches and leaves of the giant talent tree, small flowers appeared, and there seemed to be fruits as well. Flowers blooming, fruits forming. The vitality became even more majestic, and the giant talent tree seemed to be transforming into a true life form. Lin Moyu deeply felt that the life tree had become different from before, more real and stronger. Not only were the branches and leaves dense, but the roots were also unimaginably developed. The developed roots penetrated into the unknown void, continuously drawing powerful energy, not only nourishing itself but also providing strong support for itself. His own consumption could be quickly restored. The colorful rain finally stopped, and the giant talent tree also stopped growing. Just when Lin Moyu thought the changes in the giant talent tree were over, the long immobile divine cauldron suddenly flew up automatically. The golden divine power poured onto the giant talent tree. The giant talent tree was dyed with a layer of golden brilliance, and the flowers among the branches and leaves suddenly grew a lot, and the fruits beside them also grew a lot. The giant talent tree swayed continuously, making rustling sounds. It seemed to have become stronger, and even Lin Moyu was shocked by the aura it emitted. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal let out a loud dragon roar, seemingly congratulating the giant talent tree. Because of the existence of the giant talent tree, the soul power Lin Moyu obtained was extremely pure. The effect of the 9-colored dragon soul crystal was greatly reduced, but it was not useless. This treasure belonging to the dragon clan, Lin Moyu believed, still had other uses. The divine power poured for a long time, and the flowers on the giant talent tree grew larger and larger, with one of them seemingly about to bloom. At the same time, a fruit beside it became more and more plump, seemingly about to mature. Is this still the giant talent tree? Lin Moyu looked at this scene and murmured to himself. The changes in the giant talent tree were difficult for even him, its owner, to understand for a moment. Until the divine cauldron also stopped, a piece of information entered his soul. His talent had appeared. World Tree, Juvenile Stage. Ability 1, Amplification. Spell effects are amplified 1,000 times. Ability 2, Connection. All members of the Undead Legion share damage, share life and spirit, and the damage received is reduced tenfold. Ability 3, Rebirth. When the Undead Legion and its master receive fatal damage, they will be reborn, instantly recovering to their peak state, and all spells will reset their cooldowns. This ability can be triggered 3 times in a row, and after 3 triggers, it enters a cooldown state. Cooldown time, 20 seconds. Ability 4, Fruit. The World Tree will bear the fruit of the world. Consuming the fruit of the world can accelerate the evolution of the Rule World and strengthen the Rule World. If consumed below the Saint Realm, there is a very small chance of giving birth to a Rule World. Ability 5, Spirit Flower. The blooming flowers can perform secondary nurturing on members of the Undead Legion, granting them intelligence. Only members above the Beyond Realm can undergo secondary nurturing. Lin Moyu. His soul opened its mouth, speechless. He didn't know what to say. His giant talent tree had actually turned into a world tree. In appearance, it just looked bigger, denser, and more vigorous. But in reality, its interior had completely changed. Its changes also brought changes to his talents. Spell Amplification, Life Connection, and Rebirth. These 3 abilities were already present before, but this time they were greatly increased. Spell Amplification increased from 400 times in the Divine King realm to 1,000 times now. The damage reduction of Life Connection increased from 4 times before to 10 times now. Just these 2 changes were enough to greatly increase his combat power. For others, the higher their realm, the weaker their ability to fight across levels. But for him, the higher his realm, the stronger his ability to fight across levels. This talent, if spoken out, would be enough to make people envious and jealous to the point of vomiting blood. Even if other spells did not change, Lin Moyu felt that he could now easily punch high-level saints. The third ability, Rebirth, had once again increased the number of rebirths. Originally, after fusing with the Undying Tree, the number of rebirths had increased to 2, and now it had increased to 3. And the cooldown time had been reduced to 20 seconds. Die 3 times, and after 20 seconds, he could die 3 more times. Unless someone could continuously kill him in seconds, it would be very difficult for him to die. Rebirth could also be enjoyed by the Undead Legion, who could face the billions of the Undead Legion and continuously kill him in seconds. Lin Moyu felt that he was becoming more and more abnormal, even feeling that he had enough ability to protect himself when facing the Beyond Realm. The fourth ability, Fruit, accelerated the evolution of the Rule World and strengthened the Rule World. These two abilities were not needed for the time being. But Lin Moyu knew very well that for Saints, the value of the World Fruit was immeasurable. The fifth ability, Spirit Flower, was even more heaven-defying. It could perform secondary nurturing on members of the Undead Legion, granting them intelligence. Although the restriction was the Beyond Realm, this was not a problem at all. In the future, he might have a loyal and intelligent undead army. Compared to the current army, which he had to control himself, it would be much stronger. The changes in his talents were so astonishing that Lin Moyu even wondered if he would be struck by lightning. What exactly is the World Tree? I've never heard of it. Wait until Antares comes out, I'll have to ask him properly. The Lost Star River appeared in the Soul World. The Star River poured down like a waterfall, containing a vast amount of the Undying Law, nourishing all the spell stars. The Undying Law, being the first law Lin Moyu comprehended and the law that made him a god, is known as his natal law. All spell stars can be nourished, enhanced, and amplified by the Undying Law. Under the irrigation of the Lost Star River, most of the spell stars greedily absorbed the power of the Lost Star River. Only 3 spell stars were exceptions. They stood high above, seemingly disdainful of the Lost Star River, not absorbing it at all. Usually, they also stood above all other spell stars, at the very top. First was the Infinite Fusion, sitting high above like an emperor. It was the only spell star that had developed intelligence, with its own preferences. For things it needed, it would either ask for them or take them. For things it didn't like, it completely ignored them. Next were the 2 Origin spell stars. The 2 Origin spell stars were only slightly lower in status than Infinite Fusion, like left and right ministers, guarding Infinite Fusion. They also did not absorb the power of the Lost Star River, not out of disdain, but because they did not need it. The Origin spells clearly had their own system and did not need the law for enhancement. However, Lin Moyu found it strange. The Origin spells should be incredibly powerful, and their origin power should be something even the supreme beings of other worlds would covet. This also indicated that the origin power spanned multiple worlds and was not unique to the Great World. Yet, they were still not as good as Infinite Fusion. Lin Moyu truly wondered what level of spell Infinite Fusion was. At that time, during the demonstration, Infinite Fusion seemed to work best with the Scourge Scepter. Now the Scourge Scepter has not fully recovered, so it seems the abilities of Infinite Fusion can still be further explored. The soul looked down at the Scourge Scepter in its hand. Currently, the scepter only had 1 soul gem, and even that soul gem was incomplete, with several pieces missing. The power of the Scourge Scepter could not be fully unleashed. With a light sigh, there is still a long way to go. Under the irrigation of the Lost Star River, the spell stars were growing stronger, and Lin Moyu could feel them all becoming more powerful. The spell stars grew brighter and brighter, their light becoming more dazzling, illuminating the entire soul world. The soul squinted its eyes, admiring the changes. First, the 3 basic spell stars reached their limits, shining brilliantly, far surpassing ordinary stars. Lin Moyu compared them to all the stars he had seen and found that the stars in the current world were not as good as his spell stars. The 3 spell stars seemed to have reached a critical point, needing only an opportunity to undergo a qualitative change. They spun rapidly, devouring a large amount of the law. The warm starlight became more and more intense, gradually turning white and increasingly dazzling. Soon, it reached a point where even Lin Moyu could not look directly at it. They truly reached the critical point but lacked an opportunity to break through, remaining at the critical point. Lin Moyu felt that the fusion degree had already increased to 200%, unable to increase further. A fusion degree twice the normal value required a qualitative change. But the qualitative change seemed to lack something, and Lin Moyu was not sure what it was. Not only did he not know, but others would not know either. In this era, spell stars were already the limit. Countless people's fusion degrees were only 100%, and even breaking through 100% was difficult, let alone a qualitative change. Even the saints would not have an answer to this question. Previously, when Lin Moyu discussed cultivation with Saint Hao, he had asked this question. Saint Hao's answer was that in the distant ancient times, indeed, some people broke through the limits of spell stars and reached another level. Unfortunately, those records were only fragmented and incomplete, and he did not know the specifics. Then, more and more spell stars reached the critical point, with fusion degrees reaching 200%, unable to increase further. They needed a qualitative change, a breakthrough, but it never came true. The intense light illuminated the soul world, seemingly stuck in a stalemate. Lin Moyu could feel the Lost Star River weakening. It wouldn't be long before his breakthrough would be completely over. By then, everything would be fixed, and if he couldn't achieve a qualitative change now, it would be difficult to do so in the future. Both his physical body and soul furrowed their brows, racking their brains but finding no solution. Finally, the last spell star also reached the critical point. At this moment, these spell stars were like hungry children, waiting for Lin Moyu to feed them. But Lin Moyu had nothing to feed them. He tried sending soul power over, but it had no effect. As for the undying law, all the spell stars had already absorbed a vast amount of it, so it was useless. Lin Moyu thought for a long time, finding no solution, and finally focused his attention on the infinite fusion spell star. Little guy, do you have any ideas? He tried to communicate with it using his soul. The infinite fusion spell star buzzed and vibrated, sending a faint consciousness. Yes. Lin Moyu was overjoyed and continued to communicate with his soul. Then I'll leave it to you. After saying that, he didn't forget to offer a reward. If you succeed, I'll give you the best things first in the future. The infinite fusion spell star moved, scattering a hazy gray mist that fell on the two origin spell stars. The two origin spell stars seemed to be stimulated, releasing a peculiar aura. Origin power. Unexpectedly, infinite fusion commanded the two origin spell stars to release their origin power. The origin power was incredibly mysterious, and Lin Moyu could only sense a trace of it when using the origin spells. Usually, he couldn't sense it at all. Unexpectedly, now they released the origin power under the stimulation of infinite fusion. So the opportunity for qualitative change is the origin power. Threads of origin power flew out, merging into the spell stars. Each spell star received only a trace of origin power, not out of stinginess, but because the origin power was too precious, and even a trace was hard to come by. With the origin power, the spell stars finally received the opportunity and began to change. Boom, boom, boom. One spell star after another exploded, shaking the entire soul world. In the explosions, a huge black hole appeared. The black hole of ascension. When the spell planets ascended to stars, a similar black hole appeared. Through the black hole, one could see the Great World Rune. Now, as the spell stars underwent another qualitative change in ascension, the black hole formed was even larger, and the view was even clearer. Such a good opportunity could not be missed. The Great World Rune was the true core of the Great World. Even a slight inspiration from observing it would be an unimaginable gain. Even Antares had to seize such an opportunity, so naturally, Lin Moyu couldn't miss it. Lin Moyu's mind was enlightened, and he immediately focused his attention on the black hole. He saw the peculiar world belonging to the Great World Rune again. A massive rune floated there quietly. Countless runes derived from it, each representing a law. Compared to the Lost Star River, these runes were even more powerful. Lin Moyu's vision had improved significantly, and he finally understood that these runes representing laws were all ancient runes. He finally understood what he couldn't comprehend before. Those ancient runes surrounding the Great World Rune each represented a law. There were a vast number of these ancient runes, spreading outwards like a dense tree. Lin Moyu understood their structure at a glance. The Great World Rune was the core, from which 100 ancient runes branched out, representing 100 laws. These 100 ancient runes continued to branch out, growing countless subdivisions, forming weaker ancient runes at each level, too numerous to count. For example, the most common water law first branched from the Great World Rune as an ancient rune representing all water laws. Then from this ancient rune, other branches emerged, like heavy water law, ice law, thunder water law, and so on. Branching out like this, the number of ancient runes became uncountable. Countless ancient runes were interconnected, ultimately forming an intricate web of laws. But no matter what, no matter which law one cultivated, they all converged to the same point in the end, returning to the fundamental law. Otherwise, one could not reach the end, let alone reach the level of the Great World Rune. Because those 100 laws represented 100 great paths that all cultivators must tread. So many people have taken the wrong path. A thought flashed through Lin Moyu's mind, but it was just a fleeting idea. He focused his attention back on the Great World Rune. Observing the Great World Rune during the spell ascension was a rare opportunity that couldn't be wasted. Lin Moyu concentrated all his mental energy, erasing all unnecessary thoughts, and focused entirely on the Great World Rune. There was a peculiar phenomenon here. In the current world, he didn't even have the qualifications to properly observe ancient runes. Even if he forcibly memorized some information, it would quickly be forgotten. But in this space belonging to the Great World Rune, Lin Moyu could examine it freely without restraint. Moreover, the memories of previously seeing the Great World Rune could be preserved intact. Lin Moyu knew clearly that this was an opportunity. At the moment of spell ascension, he seized this opportunity. The Great World Rune was still broken, covered in cracks. A terrible war had shattered even the Great World Rune. If the Great World Rune collapsed, what would become of the Great World? Would it collapse along with it? As the World Lord of a small world, Lin Moyu understood this point clearly. The Great World Rune was the origin of the Great World. If even the origin ceased to exist, naturally the Great World could not exist either. Along with it, all the inhabitants of the Great World would perish, no one could survive. Unless one's strength had surpassed the Great World and was capable of leaving it, only then might there be a chance of survival. The internal struggles within the Great World were cruel, with racial conflicts being matters of life and death. But faced with pressure from the outside world, the survival of the entire Great World seemed to pale in comparison. Lin Moyu examined the Great World Rune, hoping to gain some useful insights. Perhaps because the level of the Great World Rune was too high, the gains were hazy and vague, without substantial improvement. Lin Moyu wasn't disappointed. He recorded these vague sensations, thinking they might be useful someday in the future. Lin Moyu understood clearly that he was actually more suited to look at those derived law runes. Among those law runes were space law, time law, and various special laws like cause and effect and fate. But Lin Moyu didn't look at any of them. Looking at these things wasn't as good as directly observing the Great World Rune. If he could understand the Great World Rune, then mastering one law would mean mastering all laws, and he would naturally understand all these runes. Even if he couldn't comprehend the Great World Rune, as long as he gained some insights, when he went back to comprehend these laws, it would be twice as effective with half the effort. It was like climbing a mountain. Some people like to stop and look at the scenery after climbing a section, and continue climbing after seeing all the scenery. Lin Moyu, on the other hand, climbed straight to the summit, ignoring the scenery along the way, planning to look down from the top. After reaching the summit, looking down, he could take in all the beautiful scenery at once. It's just that without stopping or resting along the way, the whole process would be very tiring. Some vague insights kept emerging in his mind. These insights were useless at present, but would be of great use in the future. Time passed second by second, and finally, his time to stay here came to an end. A powerful force appeared out of nowhere, about to expel Lin Moyu's consciousness. Lin Moyu was reluctant to leave. Seizing the last opportunity, he looked at this space once again. His gaze went to a farther place, and his spirit was suddenly shocked. So many coffins. The next second, his consciousness returned to the soul world. The shock in Lin Moyu's heart didn't disappear with his return. At the last moment, he saw a large number of coffins and instantly understood that they were the coffins of supreme beings. After the death of supreme beings, they would come to the space where the Great World Rune was located and be buried here. The place where the Great World Rune was located was also the burial ground for supreme beings. But why was it like this? Lin Moyu couldn't understand. Perhaps, I'll only be able to figure it out when I truly reach that place. Thinking this, he refocused his attention on the soul world, on the spell stars. The spell ascension was about to end, but the changes in the spells were still continuing. After absorbing the origin power, the spell stars completely changed their appearance. They became larger in volume and brighter in light. They no longer looked like spell stars, emitting a pure white light, somewhat similar to the white of skeletons, and even had a hint of holiness. Warriors from hell with a holy light, no matter how you looked at it, it seemed strange. Lin Moyu tried to approach them with his soul but was blocked. The ascension wasn't completely over yet, so he couldn't communicate with them for now. At this time, Infinite Fusion once again dropped a gray misty aura, enveloping the ascending spell stars. Lin Moyu approached Infinite Fusion, knowing that whatever this little fellow did would be beneficial and harmless to him. Under the envelopment of the gray mist, summoned Skeleton God Warrior, summoned Skeleton God Mage, and summoned Skeleton God Archer, the three spell stars began to move closer to each other. Lin Moyu said softly, "Is it planning to fuse?" The three spells summoned three types of skeletons, which when fused together became the Skeleton God General. This was also Lin Moyu's most frequently used spell now. Since the appearance of the Skeleton God General, the three basic skeletons were rarely used. If they could be fused together, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Lin Moyu watched quietly, waiting for the changes to occur. The infinite fusion spell star flew down spinning, transforming into a commander, ordering the spell stars to fuse and change. Under its command, the 3 basic skeleton spell stars moved closer together, then fused without any hindrance. Is it this easy? Lin Moyu was a bit surprised. It wasn't this easy when fusing the bone hell before. He remembered that infinite fusion had to use a lot of effort and force to complete the fusion back then. But this time, it seemed to encounter no resistance at all. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and understood. This time, because the spells were still in the process of ascension, they were in a special state, making the fusion so easy. Lin Moyu couldn't help but smile inwardly. This little fellow really knows how to seize an opportunity. He increasingly felt the wonder of infinite fusion. Not only could it fuse spells, but it also possessed basic intelligence, knowing what to do and when. What a magical little thing. At the moment when the 3 basic skeleton spells completed their fusion, they emitted an even brighter light. The light was extremely white, carrying a holy aura. The spell stars also became like white jade, very beautiful. The entire spell star was more than twice as large as before, and the power it emitted was also much stronger. The infinite fusion spell star let out a cheer, flew over, and circled around Lin Moyu 3 times, as if asking for praise. After circling 3 times, it flew towards the other spell stars. It wanted to seize this opportunity of spell sublimation to fuse more spells. Lin Moyu did not stop it, letting it play freely. His consciousness fell on the newly fused spell, receiving information about the new spell. Summon Skeleton God General, White Star level, summon a Skeleton God General to fight. The Skeleton God General usually lies dormant within the White Star and can descend into the world when needed. The Skeleton God General has extremely strong combat power and is the main combat force of the Undead Legion. Indeed, it's the Skeleton God General. Lin Moyu found that his guess was correct. After the fusion of the 3 basic skeletons, the new spell formed was the Skeleton God General. In fact, it couldn't be considered a new spell. The Skeleton God General had always been used, but now it required one less step, no need for secondary fusion. Moreover, this fusion turned it into a native spell, which might have better effects. Otherwise, infinite fusion wouldn't have gone to the trouble. The spell had sublimated from the star level to the White Star level. Lin Moyu guessed that the White Star corresponded to the White Dwarf Star in the Great World. A White Dwarf Star is also a star, but it is heavier and more terrifying than ordinary stars, considered an upgraded version of a star. The spell star sublimated and became a White Star, which also matched the information left from ancient times. As for how strong the White Star level spell was, it still needed further verification. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry and decided to wait until all the spells had completed their sublimation before checking. The second fusion completed by Infinite Fusion was the Death Knight and the Bone Dragon. These 2 spells had also been fused before, resulting in the Death Dragon Knight. As an upgraded version of the skeleton, both the Death Knight and the Bone Dragon had much stronger combat power. The fused Death Dragon Knight also had combat power surpassing the Skeleton God General. However, for various reasons, Lin Moyu rarely used them. Ultimately, it was because their numbers were insufficient, and they were not as flexible and handy as the Skeleton God General. They were later assigned to the Legion Ruler's command and began to play a role again. But compared to the Skeleton God General, their usage rate was still not high. Lin Moyu didn't know if this spell sublimation and fusion could restore their former glory. After the fusion was completed, Infinite Fusion flew to the 3 curse spells, intending to fuse them as well. This little guy is going to streamline all my spells, Lin Moyu chuckled and began to check the fusion of the Death Knight and the Bone Dragon. Summon Death Dragon Knight, White Star level, summon a Death Dragon Knight to fight. The Death Dragon Knight usually lies dormant within the White Star and can descend into the world when needed. The Death Dragon Knight has extremely strong combat power and is a high-level force in the Undead Legion. It was still the White Star level Death Dragon Knight, and its real combat power still needed further observation. While Infinite Fusion was fusing the 3 curse spells, the other spells completed their sublimation one by one. Summon Legion Ruler, White Star level, summon a Legion Ruler to fight. The Legion Ruler usually lies dormant within the star and can descend into the world when needed. The Legion Ruler has the ability to command the Undead Legion and can also join the battle itself. It is a general in the Undead Legion. Summon Skeleton King, White Star level, fuse the power of skeletons to summon the Skeleton King. At least 1 million skeletons are required for fusion, and up to 100 million skeletons can be fused. Summoning the Skeleton King does not make the skeletons disappear or weaken their power. The Skeleton King is the top combat force in the Undead Legion. Lin Moyu checked the other 2 summoning spells. The spell stars had also sublimated to the white star level and could be renamed as spell white stars. From the information, the changes in the two spells were not significant, but there were more detailed explanations. Each summoning spell was given its own positioning. The Skeleton God General was undoubtedly the main combat force, and the Death Dragon Knight was the high-level force. The two were equivalent to infantry and cavalry in an army. The Legion Ruler was the general of the army, capable of commanding the entire army. Without an army under its command, the Legion Ruler's combat power was not strong. Except for its strong vitality, it had no other features. Once it had an army under its command, its commanding ability would come into play, making the Legion Ruler extremely powerful, second only to the Skeleton King. The Skeleton King remained the top combat force, like the ace in an army. Previously, Lin Moyu had basically divided them this way, but now it was more explicit. As more spells completed their sublimation, he continued to check. Summon Elemental Lich, White Star level. Use various materials to summon corresponding types of elemental liches. The summoned liches can be enhanced based on the summoning materials. Elemental liches do not truly die, they will be reborn in the White Star after a fatal attack. Only one of the same type of lich can exist, with a maximum of 20. The Elemental Lich, although also a summoning spell, was a very special one. Depending on the materials used, the summoned Elemental Liches varied. Elemental Liches might not have strong combat power, but they had amazing auxiliary abilities and various special abilities that could decisively influence the battle. For example, the Undying Lich could give the undead army an extra chance of resurrection. For example, the Buddha Lich could use the True Sight spell, allowing Lin Moyu to see fragments of the future. The effectiveness of the Elemental Lich ultimately depended on the materials used. However, the White Star level spell could enhance the liches based on the materials. Previously, the summoned elemental liches were slightly weaker than the materials used. Now, with the enhancement, it meant that at least liches of the same level as the materials could be summoned. In this regard, the spell had indeed been enhanced and strengthened. Next, Lin Moyu checked the last member of the summoning spells, Resurrection of the Dead. This was a special spell, very useful when needed, but almost useless when not needed. It often played a role in special situations, and if used well, it could be a powerful weapon. Resurrection of the Dead, White Star level. Use a corpse or soul as a medium to resurrect the target, transforming it into a resurrected being. The resurrected being will exist for 100 days, possessing the peak strength of its previous life and retaining its memories. The master has absolute control over the resurrected being. Resurrecting a target that exceeds the master's realm by one major level may cause resistance, leading to the target losing control. The probability of this happening depends on the master's soul. The stronger the soul, the lower the probability of resistance. After sublimating to the White Star level, Lin Moyu finally obtained more detailed information about Resurrection of the Dead. So, as long as the resurrected target exceeds my realm by one major level, it may cause resistance and even lose control. But this major level is not absolute, it also depends on my own soul. The stronger the soul, the stronger the control, and the less likely it is to cause resistance. No wonder I didn't encounter resistance when resurrecting and controlling those gods, it's because my soul had reached the Beyond Realm. Now I can control all gods, but the Beyond Realm might still be a bit difficult. Lin Moyu did not have absolute confidence in controlling the Beyond Realm.